I didn't notice it at first. I was almost never in silence. There was always something going on. Music playing, scrolling on my phone, watching something, talking to someone, just constant noise, filling in every gap. And I used to think that was normal. Like, that's just how people live now. But then there were moments when everything would go quiet. No distractions, no noise, just me, sitting there. And almost instantly I'd feel uncomfortable, not bored, just restless, like I needed to reach for something again. And I remember thinking to myself, why does this feel so uncomfortable? Why can't I just sit here and be still? The more I paid attention to it, the more I realized something. It wasn't the silence that made me uncomfortable, it's what came with it. Because when everything goes quiet, you're left with your own thoughts, and that's when things start to surface. Stuff you haven't really dealt with, things you've done, things you regret, the way you've treated people, the way you've handled situations, thoughts you've been pushing away for a very long time. And I think for a while, I just didn't want to look at any of that. So instead of facing it, I distracted myself, and it wasn't even a conscious decision. It became automatic. The second things got quiet, I'd reach for something. Phone, music, situationships, anything. Because silence meant thinking, and thinking meant being honest. And that's not always something you want to do, especially when you're not fully proud of who you've been. I think a lot of people are like this. Not because they're weak, but because it's easier not to look too deeply. Because when you actually sit and think, you start noticing things about yourself. Small things, patterns, reactions, ways you've handled situations. And sometimes you realize you could have been better. You could have handled things differently. You could have been more patient, more honest, more aware. And that realization doesn't feel good. So naturally, people avoid it. Because your mind is wired to avoid discomfort. If something feels heavy or unpleasant, it looks for a way out. And now, more than ever, those ways out are everywhere. You don't have to sit with your thoughts anymore. You could distract yourself instantly. And because of that, a lot of people never actually face what's going on inside them. But the problem is, avoiding your thoughts doesn't actually fix anything, it just delays it. The things you avoid thinking about don't actually disappear, they stay there, and they show up in other ways, in your habits, behavior, relationships, sometimes without you even realizing it. You keep repeating things, but you don't actually understand why. I don't even know when it was, but at some point I started noticing that pattern myself. I realized I wasn't actually dealing with anything. I was just kind of moving from one distraction to the next, and as long as I stayed distracted, everything was fine. But it actually wasn't, because underneath it all, nothing had actually changed. And that's when I started thinking, maybe the thing I'm avoiding is exactly what I need to cope with. So at some points, I just started sitting with myself. No music, no phone, just letting my thoughts come up. And at first it wasn't comfortable, not at all. Because everything I'd been avoiding started showing up. But over time, something did change. Instead of feeling overwhelmed, I started to understand it. I started seeing the patterns, connecting things, reacting differently in certain situations, because I was now making a conscious effort to understand my own behavior. And this is where things actually begin to shift, because once you understand yourself, you stop operating on autopilot. You're not just reacting anymore, you're aware of what's inside you. And that awareness gives you a choice. You can keep repeating the same patterns, or you can start changing them. I think people say they're afraid of being alone, but I don't think that's really it. I think they're afraid of what they might finally realize when they are, because silence doesn't create anything new. It just reveals what's already there. And if you've been avoiding certain things about yourself, you are going to have to face those things that you've been pushing down this entire time. The thoughts you keep trying to avoid are usually the ones that would change your life. You just have to face them.